Okay, so again, welcome to this April version now of the monthly BHO meeting. Very glad to see that many of you have been able to join again. As always, we have an interesting agenda ahead of us today. So first of all, as always, we will present some updates from our side, from the European Commission. And we also have Elisa and Xavi joining us today to present some updates and information regarding the next EURAXESS project. And then we are also very happy to have joining today Tudor Trestieni-Ion from our unit at DGRTD. And he will be talking and presenting a study on strengthening research talent retention in Europe. So this is something that will be highly relevant to all of you, I believe. So we're looking forward to that presentation. And of course, there will be an opportunity to ask some questions regarding this study after the presentation. Now, for the updates from our side, I think perhaps the most pressing matter and the issue that we get the most questions about currently is the IT contract. Every meeting, I hope and I wish that I would have maybe some more significant news. However, this time I can with confidence say that we are very close to starting the next IT contract. So the last signatures have been added now, so we are just waiting for the very final approval. So it's my hope and prayer that the IT team will be back in full effect within a week or so. In that regard, I also want to say a huge thank you to all of you for the patience during this time. We realize that it is a situation that has been going on for almost 3 months now. So as you can imagine, I'm trying to man the support help desk as best as I can currently. And added to all the other assignments, it takes up quite a lot of time. So thank you very much for the patience if I do not get back to your emails immediately, or if there is any delay. I can't reiterate how much I personally also wait and hope for the day that the IT team will be back. So, but indeed, we are very close at the moment. So we will give you an update as soon as we know more. Furthermore, I also wanted to say that, of course, when it comes to having the presence of the IT team, this is crucial in many ways. Also, when it comes to the PAT reporting, we've had some questions whether the PAT reporting will be applied this year as well. And normally the initial reporting period would have started already by now. However, in order for us to start a new cycle, the previous one needs to be closed. And again, because of the absence of the IT team, we have not been able to close it. So that's why this is still pending. So we will have to make a decision when the IT team is back, how we will proceed with the PAT reporting for this year. But we will again keep you posted on that matter. Following matter would be the BHO meeting. So we've already mentioned that we have a date for the meeting now, which is the 18th of June, and it will be a one-day event in Brussels. And we will be sending out invitations as soon as possible. One thing that is very important to stress is that we are very well aware of the issues that the reimbursement system has caused in previous meeting, and I know a lot of you have encountered some struggles with it. So that's why this time we really want to make sure that everybody will be able to reimburse and won't have to go through such massive administrative procedures in order to make this happen. So this time we are really making sure to communicate properly with the financial team, with the secretaries who are in charge of, in this case, the AGM system or whatever system we will end up using, to ensure that this will be a smooth process this year. But again, this is something that will be decided probably in next week, and we will be sending out invitations shortly after. As a final matter from my side, also wanted to mention that, of course, the biennial conference preparations are in full swing by our hosts in Bulgaria. And where we are at now is that we are determining the seat allocations for each country. And this is again something that we will be deciding on within next week or the one after, and we can then start the registration process. We will be using the standard EURAXESS registration system for this, and as soon as we have everything in place, we will be sending out the registration link and the relevant information, of course. I believe that was all on my side for the updates from the European Commission. And in that regard, I'm going to hand over to Elisa for some updates regarding the EURAXESS project. So Elisa, please go ahead.
Yes, thank you, Vera. Just before going into the updates of reporting, I would like to make a point here that when you talk about the PAD system, maybe because of these delays or something, it's a good idea maybe to take account with us. I mean us in general, the BHOs I'm talking here. To start maybe thinking about how to fit to make a better use for us, to the PAD, for all of us, of the PAD. So maybe if things have been delayed just because, maybe it's a good chance, to rethink a little bit on the PAD and how it can benefit to all of us. And nothing else. Thank you. I'm gonna say also that regarding the IT support, I can imagine the amount of work, due to the messages, the incidents and so on. But I can say that at least, maybe it was slightly delay on answering, but at least from the Spanish side, the solutions have been always quite straightforward. So everybody was happy at the end. So this is what is important. So institutions where the problem was solved, and this is what was important for their side. So I thank you a lot for being quite efficient, and if there's no more comment from anyone in the room, then I will go to the project. I mean, not much that I can say, I don't think that we could say a lot here, but yeah, there is some news that we want to share with you, and I think they are, you BHOs can find it interesting. Let me share my screen. It's not that I have a huge presentation, I think, but it could help me to give you the right message. Okay, so basically what I would like to come today here and to talk a little bit is the kickoff meeting. Yeah, there is also news on this. The first step to keep engaged with 4C. We have a name now of the project. Now it's not anymore New EURAXESS project, so we have already a title. I mean, of course, we're going to submit in basically a couple of working days, so it was time to have a name. So yeah, this is the forward-looking EURAXESS services for Europe, modern, specialized, and coordinated European talent support model. So this is what 4C is about. It may start in 1st of June, and when I say it may, is because, of course, before just thinking of starting a project, we need to pass evaluation. So I cannot say 100% we will start in 1st of June, but definitely what I can tell you is that we definitely are going to submit next Tuesday at the latest. So because it's the deadline. So yeah, definitely. And if everything goes okay, submission and evaluation goes okay, then we will start, the project will start within the 1st of June. Okay, retroactively. This is something that we have already, for those who have been involved in the project, it's going to be a retroactive starting point. That this is also why the duration is 30 months. Okay, so for now, at the moment that we are, and this is going to stay like that, unless this is a major dramatic changes that I hopefully do not happen, in the last days, we are 38 BHOs participating, which is quite a good number from the 43 that we are. You all know we have made a special effort, with expression of interest, gathering that. Then we also open a HOPOM. And for the HOPOM, there was also, this mechanism was also aiming to move people from different work packages and tasks, maybe finding another interesting path. unfortunately, at the end we couldn't move it a lot because budget restriction. Usually, this is the main issue. But we made an effort for the ones who came at the last time, the last minute through this mechanism, we also made an effort to include them in the project. So yeah, finally we have 32 BHOs participating. Potential 2 more beneficiaries during the project. Okay, so because this we also and also it's in the call written, there's going to be a mechanism for third-party beneficiaries. So for these, who could be these beneficiaries is BHOs who are not now, current, there will be no beneficiaries of the current of the 4C. And also, but this also is for EURAXESS support centers, so it's basically to all EURAXESS members. And this is probably the more linked way with financial support from the project of engaging. Okay. Also, there is a study visit I forgot to mention here, so there is also financial support to even further engagement in other activities. But there is many more ways to engage with EURAXESS, with this project through the whole for EURAXESS members, not only for BHOs but also for all members to engage with the activities and what is going on in 4C. So how to get more information, because I don't think now it's time to, I think we have a great opportunity, and it's been, thank you for the current, for the upper team, the current ERA Talent project coordinator, and also for the task, for the organizer of the next event, the Sultan team. You all know, because you have received information, that we have an event, the closing event of the ERA Talent project, next 23rd of April. So here, thanks to the, like I said, to the coordinator and the organizer of the event, we have 15-minute slot to talk about future collaborations in EURAXESS. So we will talk about, how, what is 4C about, and what is the mechanisms to engage. And I would like to highlight that this is not only for BHOs, this also would be addressing EURAXESS members, because this whole event is for EURAXESS members. And also stakeholders that maybe are very interested also in looking for synergies with us. So I encourage you, please, to bring your to communicate your networks, to come to this event, because it's a way to start thinking of, okay, how can I engage in the other one, in the next one. So yeah, you will have to wait until next week to know more about all of this. Then now talking with, now we're going to go to the other question of the day, is the kickoff meeting. Okay, there's going to be a kickoff meeting of a project, of course, but the main question here was always online, on-site, or what type of event, and also the conference is very soon, as we have heard, so how to do it. We decided to do a hybrid event, okay, maybe for those who cannot make it, but when? It's going to be the 19th of June this year, back to back with the BHO meeting. So we're at the Spanish Office for Science and Technology in Brussels. So don't worry, we're not going to make you go to Brussels and then go to Madrid. So we're going to be there the whole, time. For whom? So who is invited? It's all BHOs are invited to attend. I think we have the rooms that we have there. They have enough capacity, because they have capacity for 80 people. And another question is, who is going to be covered? Of course, it's a project activity, so one night of hotel will be covered for project beneficiaries. Okay. So I think more information, of course, because we are linked now to the kickoff meeting somehow. So more information, will be up in the upcoming weeks, when we have more information also from the EC about, how everything develops in terms of trips and so on. Okay. Once again, this kickoff meeting is depending on if we pass the evaluation. Always bear in mind, we made a huge work, not only FECIT team, but also many of, especially work package leaders, and also the core proposal, the core proposal group, who made a astonishing work, to create a huge project, I must say, with a lot of tasks, with a lot of activities. Unfortunately, and always for funding constraints, we haven't been able to fund all of them. So some wonderful ideas have been put into waiting lists, for future projects, which I think is a good idea, because then we have a lot of we have more ideas and things to go. We're gonna try slightly different things, maybe not so much, but trying to advance. It's not always reinventing the wheel. It's also making things quicker, easier, and more efficient, and getting better in our jobs. So I must say to a big thank you, for all of us that bear with us, even in difficult times, during the preparation of the project. And I think this is all from my side. If anyone has any question, or like I said, I didn't want to talk about the project because it's not evaluated yet. It's done, and also we're gonna have a good time, 15 minutes also next day, on how to engage. And this is not, and I really want to highlight, this is not only for BHOs, it's for EURAXESS, for all EURAXESS members. So anyone has a question? No one wants to raise the eyes.
I see there is.
I have a question for the conference, but not so I think because I just onboarded a bit later than the meeting started. The research career conference will be later this year, or is it another thing, or is it the biannual conference? What was it? You just mentioned.
Yes, so I can reply to this. So regarding the Research Career Conference, in what format, what the date and so on, this will take place this year is yet to be defined. But the biennial conference is separate from that one. So the biennial conference will take place in October.
Yes, as it was in Sofia, and so
exactly.
that's clear. So okay, good. Because I thought this is probably wishful thinking that this year the dates and the mode, etc., of the career conference, research career conference, will be known well in advance. But good, okay. I just thought.
I appreciate the optimism, Lil, but
well,
I don't foresee I don't foresee such a miracle this year either. But yes, we can always hope. We can always hope.
Yeah.
Thank you for the question. I think, George, did you have a question, or were you applauding? I didn't see if it was a hand or.
I was just applauding.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions about the project or anything else that we've talked about today? Feel free to raise your voice. We have a few extra minutes at hand, so any questions you might have regarding IT contract or any of the updates is also welcome. Okay, I see a question in the chat from Nadish related to the ERA Talent project. Okay, regarding the talent webinar on academic entrepreneurship startups and so on. Elisa, is this something you can reply to?
Let me see, related to regarding the ERA Talent webinar on academic startups and academic. Well, maybe upper team is here, or Adam, from Beisoltan, who are the organizers of this. So maybe it's better that you explain, Jessica.
Yeah, it's me. Thank you, Lisa. No, but I don't think it's the same event as the next week. But I think that the Nadesh is talking about the event held by EPD on the 29th of April. I think so. So I don't know if Isser is online. Otherwise, we can come back to him and ask to send the link. Thank you.
Okay, thanks.
Milan has put it now in the chat, the registration link for that.
Thank you.
For that event.
Thank you. Thank you, Milan.
Any other questions at this point? I don't see any hands. Lil, you had another question?
Yes, I have a new hand. I was wondering if there is any update, and again, apologies if you just said it in the first minute, regarding the HR award process. Will there be any changes? So I remember there were some ideas of how that will be maybe restructured a bit. There was this idea of contacts and the different countries in the air, etc. So sorry if I missed something, but maybe.
No, this is indeed a very crucial question and something that we slightly touched upon in the last meeting, but we, of course, don't have any solutions presented currently. What we can say is this a very crucial matter and something that has become, as I already mentioned last meeting as well, is that as I've been dealing with the support help desk, it's become very clear that this is a very time-consuming process, as there are a lot of gaps when it comes to reaching the correct admin, changing HR award admin, and so on. So this is definitely something that we will prioritize from an IT perspective this year as well. And it's something that I will be discussing as soon as we have our IT team back as well, but also include you all, as this is something that you deal with on a national level quite often, I would assume. So I would like to include you also in that discussion and see what might be the best technical solution for this, best administrative procedure as well, and so on. So it's definitely on the list and upcoming.
Thank you.
We have 2 raised hands. Please go ahead, whoever raised your hands. For some reason, I'm not able to see them at the moment.
I'm probably second on the row, so whoever has risen before, but is not risen anymore. Look, George is asking in the chat something related to the HRs for.
Not asking, I just very much appreciate the thought of knowing what the changes are in advance, and I thank you in advance for that.
Okay, thank you, George. Okay.
If not, I can. If no one has risen the hand, I can also ask something about the HR Excellence Award, because what we were just talking about, Vera, what you were explaining definitely is the issues that we have with the technical difficulties of the platform, you know, that the institutions experience, and at the end, I think they read EURAXESS and they reach us, no matter how many times Michele has given the message to them that, you know, there is these emails to, you know, to solve the questions. But even though there is this channel, yeah, I think it's because you have already experienced how we are involved in these processes. So it's great that you're going to take us into consideration based on when we have worked also with institutions where it's always the bottleneck problem and things like that. But then regarding the HR Excellence in Award, this is kind of technical problems that definitely we are very happy, you know, that the commission and it takes kind of help us and take over, you know, these tasks. This is a very demanding task. But then there is the other aspect of the HR Excellence in Award, that is how, you know, and I know we also raised it in another meeting, you know, the problems with how we are BHOs involved not in the technical part, but in the content of the HR Excellence in Award. I mean, we all know that from EURAXESS perspective, we as BHOs, you know, as EURAXESS is not a BHO, it's as EURAXESS, we feed the action plans of these you know, of these the action plans of the organizations, and we have a role there, definitely. But then there's not a structural scheme, you know, as is EURAXESS for the supporters of mobility and career development in the sense of national networks or community of practice or whatever. So, and I remember in the last meeting where we tackled this point, we were there was something again, no crystal clear solution. And in one point, I'm asking myself, are we talking about the technical problems, or are we talking about the content problems? You know, technical problems, we will say yes, please do not get us involved. Please help us, you know, and yeah, we'll take it, give it to you. but the other point, about what is our role in this kind of engaging institutions into the aware, into the mechanism, into the whole process, in the action plan, think about the content, and I know, and this is also another third layer of this process, how to prepare the visits, how to prepare a good, community of practice and recruitment, and in the public, in the non-academic and public research performing organizations. Community of practice has made a wonderful webinar like 2 weeks ago, I think, or 1 week ago, tackling exactly this issue, tackling about how institutions can prepare for the 40 to 20 principle change, because some of them, they're very, uneasy about this. So yeah, this is again, many times we think, what is our role, here, and especially how do you take us, the European Commission take us, this network into account for this purpose. So once again, I don't know if it's a close conversation within European Commission, or you're still, thinking about it. And if you're still thinking about it, we would like to be involved somehow in these conversations, because also we need, as BHOs, we need to know our capacities, and we need to know what we would like to do, and so on.
Thank you very much, Elisa. And of course, when it comes specifically to the HR award process, this is not something that me on my side have much involvement in, other than in this case from a technical perspective. So I'm actually not too sure what the thoughts are in this regard in particular. However, it's something that I am more than happy to convey to, in this case, Michele, of course, who is the one who's very heavily involved when it comes to the discussions also regarding the structural matters and BHO involvement and so on. And of course, we can appreciate the fact that BHOs perhaps are not included as much as they should be in these processes, as you are the one with the experience, with the knowledge, with a lot of information that would highly benefit these processes and also the way they are structured. So at this point, I'm not able to say much, again, because I don't have much involvement in it, but I will make sure to convey this, of course, to the relevant people in this case.
Thank you.
Okay, I think we could now move on to the next topic. As already mentioned, we have Tudor with us today. Many of you are familiar with him already, but Tudor, are you there? And can I ask you to present yourself and your topic for today, which is the study on strengthening research talent retention in Europe? Do we have you with us?
Yes, thank you very much. For giving me for making a short introduction, Vera. So I'm Tudor. I'm working in the same unit as Vera and Slaven, and many of you know me already. We have been working together also in the past, and I would like to present you today with on what we are doing actually currently on a particular study, which is strengthening research talent retention in Europe, and where we stand, because this also has actually implications on EURAXESS. I mean, it's supposed to be a study that will help you as well with the knowledge that we are gathering. So without further ado, I will share my screen and do the presentation. Just 1 second. I have too many things open, so I have to close. And that's why I can't share yet, but just bear with me a couple of seconds. I will close as much as I can so that it's easier to share. Well, I think there must be a technical issue on my side because I closed everything and still I can't share the PowerPoint.
Tudor, would you like to try and send it to me via email and I can share it?
Oh, that would be very kind. Yeah, thank you.
I can
Thank you.
try. To be
Thank
honest,
you.
I normally have a lot of issues sharing, so but I will.
Yeah,
do my
no,
best.
there's probably a technical issue because I did close everything, so but still it
Okay.
doesn't show up. So I'll do it right away. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you very much. So I have just sent it, but I'm starting already, so that I'm not losing your time. So basically, early January we have kicked off a study, which is called Strengthening Research Talent Retention in Europe, and basically this study is co-financed by the European Parliament and ourselves. Actually, it's financed by the European Parliament, but it's carried out by us. The companies which are carrying out the study for us are Visionary Analytics, Technopolis, Fraunhofer, and Arctic. So it's a consortium of four companies with extensive knowledge in the area of research. And the primary objectives of this study is to identify and analyze the effective national organizational practices that prevent researcher unemployment. So that's the first one. The second one is to uncover the gaps and opportunities for improvement in employment stability. The third objective is to understand successful offboarding strategies. So this actually includes for example, how research performing organizations are ensuring that after the contract is finishing with a certain researcher, there is continuation there's a help towards this researcher to find a job maybe somewhere else in an area which is actually similar, or that this knowledge is not being lost and is carried out in another organization, for example, which will benefit from this knowledge. A fourth primary objective is to identify the best practices and tools that equip researchers with skills for seamless job transitions. And finally, the last objective is to explore new models for funding and employment contracts within European research programs. So basically, we are requiring the contractor to advise us on how we could actually do that. And thanks a lot for sharing for us, Vera, the presentation. You can move on to scope to the next slide. So the scope of the studies geographically is EU member states plus the UK, Norway, Switzerland, and also Montenegro. It's not covering all the member states, but because of limitations in the terms of reference, but it will cover European EU member states which are representative. So we will have both member states from North, South, East, Central, and Western Europe, and it will also represent all the sectors where researchers and other research staff are working, including academia, other public and private research organizations, businesses, industry, and the government sector. And it will cover policies and practices at the same time. So not only what is the legislation in a certain country, but also what is the practice on the ground. So now I will move on to the tasks that are foreseen in this study, and I'll tell you where we stand right now, basically mid-April, with our works. with our work. So first, task 1, which is about mapping and comparison of national practices. The objective of this task, which is ongoing, is to map and compare the national legislative and policy practices in the area, of course, of strategies for research unemployment. The objective is also to provide information on the incidence of the types of contracts and on salaries in public research organizations. So the idea would be to know for each country under the scope of the study, what are the types of contracts that are being used and what is also the average salary for the different types of contracts, but also for the different type of researchers based on the R1, R4 scheme. The other objective is also to provide analysis and best practices on wider use of long-term contracts and to recommend a healthy ratio at national level between permanent and open-ended contracts. So between basically fixed-term contracts and more long-term contracts. So the overall approach is to select the member states for the analysis, then is to map the policies in the selected countries, in particular by searching what is the legislation. Then the idea is to compare the policies between the countries which are in the scope of the study, and finally to draft the report. So the countries that have been selected are those which are appearing in the next table, which are from Central Europe, Austria, Hungary, from Eastern Europe, Poland and Bulgaria, from North, Lithuania and Finland, South, Spain and Croatia, and the West, Germany and Belgium, plus UK, Norway, Switzerland and Montenegro, as I mentioned at the beginning. So these were selected based on the relevance and the information that the contractor was able to extract in order to make this meaningful. So next slide, please. So in the drafting of the report, this deliverable of task 1 will be having 50 pages, and it will be submitted very soon. So we're already on month 4. So towards the end of the month, we will have it. And it will include an introduction, the methodology that I just explained, but on a much more thorough basis. And there will be country fiches with the national policies, the incidence of the contract types and the salaries, the reasons that contribute to stop or stop wider use of long-term contracts. There will be cross-case analysis recommendations based on the wider use of long-term contracts, a healthy ratio between healthy ratio at national level between permanent and open-ended contracts, conclusions and annexes with detailed information by country. Just before maybe I move to tasks 2, I wanted to say, so this will be, we already received the drafts for these countries that you have seen in the table before. And the information is very relevant for us as a policymaker, because it's the first time we actually have information at country level about the average salary per type of researcher, and also in percentages the uses of different contracts, sometimes also by type of researcher, which is extremely useful for ongoing work such as the EURAXESS. And also I think this also very important for the work you are carrying out in EURAXESS to understand overall where we are standing at EU level in our objectives as regards improving the working conditions of researchers. So I move now to task 2, which is the analysis of offboarding strategies adopted by employers. And as I explained, these offboarding strategies are what we want to actually know is to whether there are offboarding strategies existing out there in Europe, which are adopted by employers of researchers, and to analyze them and to have a particular focus on cases link to the use of project funding, and to see whether we can come up with successful examples that can be reapplied as well elsewhere. So the overall approach is actually to check the literature and to have a mapping of the examples, then to select the case study selection. Then there will be interviews performed with these people who have carried out the offboarding strategies. This is very often the HR department of research performing organizations. Then we will have the development of the case studies themselves with a cross-case analysis, and finally there will be the deliverable. So this is being done by literature mapping in 2 steps: in-depth national level analysis and then centralized national level analysis for the remaining countries. And what we would like to have at the end is basically 2 pages, a 2-pager per case report, which will be presented as an annex to the main deliverable. And then the cross cases analysis of findings from the case studies and the existing literature, and a SWOT analysis to identify the factors that enable or hinder effective offboarding. And the overall report will have 50 pages and will be delivered in June. Here, what will also be very interesting is if you think that would be useful, maybe to share those conclusions also with the BHOs in order to see whether there's any of these actually case studies which would be reapplicable or useful for you. Then I'm moving on to task number 3, which is the compilation of best practices and the toolbox for skills and career development. So the objective of this particular task is to gather and compile 13 best practices and create an evidence-based toolbox to support the mitigation of negative impacts of job transitions. So basically, the approach will be very similar to tasks 1 and 2. It will imply literature and example mapping, case study selection, interviews with the people, best practice case studies, best practices afterwards, cross-case analysis, the establishment of the toolbox, and finally the policy brief, which will be the deliverable itself. The interviews will be carried, there will be 2 to 3 interviews per case. So in total, we'll have between 26 and 39 interviews with at least 1 employer of human resource in human resources, and at least 1 researcher on the research staff. The development of best practice cases will be done also in 2 pages per case and presented as an annex to the main deliverable. And finally, the cross-case analysis will be basically a synthesis of the findings of these best practices. So what we want to have here is concrete transferable solutions which are stemming from the challenges and the effective practices identified in the desk research. We basically want to have a particular very concrete cases which can be applied in real life by a research performing organizations, and this can include various examples, such as how organizations are helping with, for example, the finding a school for the children, how they can be helped to change their car plate, how they can be supported in elements such as in inquiries such as supporting the spouse to find also a job in the country, etc., which is very much relevant for basically the work of EURAXESS and what the BHOs are already doing. So we have been in touch with the contractor of course, explaining what EURAXESS is doing. So among the best practices, there will be cases which are coming from EURAXESS and from individual BHOs, which will be chosen and as best practices and which will be shared as such. So they will get in touch with you. We are now in the process of selecting the cases. So once that will be the case, you will be informed that that the contractor might want to actually contact you, interview you, and actually select you as part of the best practice toolbox. So this, in the end, can be showcased not only in EURAXESS but also across other channels, so that other research performing organizations are actually trying to use this approach if it fits for them in order to support the mobility of researchers. Now I'll move to task number 4, which is the compilation of best practices and toolbox to facilitate relocation. Again, it's exactly what I was mentioning before. This is very much linked to task 3. It's here, the idea is to have a challenge solution matrix structured both at the level of governments, research funding organizations, research performing organizations, to support options for various user types with resources, minimum enabling conditions. So again, very similar in this case, we are talking on top of the skills which you had in task 3, you will have here these very concrete elements related to relocation, as I mentioned, basically helping the spouse, supporting with all the administrative burden when moving from one country to the other. And this will end up also in the compilation of best practices and a toolbox to facilitate relocation. And again, the contractor will get in touch with you to learn from your experience and from your knowledge on the ground. And this they will put in single report, which will cover all of these aspects. The final report will be below 40 pages, but it will also have annexes, which will integrate the methodology, the compilation of the 13 best practice case studies, and the relocation support toolbox. Now, I'm moving now to the task 5, which is the promotion of the best practices and toolboxes. So in order to make sure that basically all this knowledge is being widespread, we will organize a full-day hybrid workshop with 16 on-site participants and 100 online. This will be organized by the contractor, and there will be two full-day online interactive webinars targeting between 40 and 75 participants. So this task number 5, which is the promotion of best practices, is building on tasks number 2 to 4. And the objective is to encourage and promote the practical use of the successful offboarding strategies, as well as the best practices and toolboxes on skills, knowledge, career development, and the relocation support. Basically, tasks 2 to 4, as I mentioned before. So here again, we will get in touch with you when this will happen in order to ask you to support us to make the event as widespread as possible. We will get in touch with you to see whether there will be any relevance for any of you to actually be speakers. It will really depend on the outcome of the tasks 2 to 4 to see how we will engage with you. But for sure, you will be fully engaged, since this is very relevant for the work you are doing. the idea would be also to try to reach all these research performing organizations that we are generally not able to communicate to, so that these toolboxes are also reaching them. And on this, we will really count on also on your support upfront of these workshops and also within the organization of the workshops. I will now move to task 6, which is the development of new measures for framework program support and feasibility assessment. So the objective of this task will be to identify potential measures for research careers and talent retention through the EU framework program and assets and assess their feasibility. We'll analyze the impact of the HR Excellence Award on Horizon participation and its success rates. And the outcome will be a report on development of new measures for framework program support. So we will have a summary of analyzed policy measures and options, and an analysis of potentially an idea of a guarantee fund, which would be included, which could be included in the framework program to support longer term contracts. But this is just a potential idea, which really needs checking and will be included in the analysis of the contractor. There will be an analysis of the HR Excellence Award and its impact in the Horizon participation. And there will be also policy recommendations and implementation pathways, which the Commission will be free to decide whether to pursue or not. So we might not agree with those recommendations, or we could very well find that those recommendations are very useful and see how they could actually be implemented. And I will now move to the task number 7, which is the final report of the study. Its objective will be to synthesize the findings from all tasks 1 to 6 and to provide the recommendations in the form of this final report. It will have a maximum page limit of 100 so that it's still readable, and it will be developed in around June of next year. So it will take 18 months for the delivery of the entire study, and this will be the last deliverable, which hopefully will encompass all of the findings that have been made until task number 6. Now, in terms of timing and activities of the activities and the deliverables, we have a table which is summarizing when the different deliverables will be ready. But I can tell you already that we are very close now to finalizing task number 1, which is the national species of the countries which are under the report, where we are very close now to having the numbers of the average salaries and the relevant legislation in the area of research careers, where we have also a lot of information already available on the types of contracts that are being used for the different types of researchers, R1, R4. Task 2 is also advancing quite well, and so it's already, desk research has already been finalized. A short case of the studies is being developed, same as for task number 3, which is also advanced. So as soon as these are reaching the stage in which we can fully get in touch with you, we will do so, of course, especially as regards the offboarding strategies, and as I said, as about your experience in the area of relocation and support to researchers, also in the area of skills, relocation, and overall career knowledge in the area of research careers. So I try to go relatively quickly through the presentation to give you an overall glimpse of what we are expecting to deliver. And I will be very happy to take your questions or any remarks you may have on the current work we are carrying out.
Thank you very much, Tudor. So if anybody has a question, please feel free again to speak out. See, Carla has a question. Will the deliverables be shared with us gradually or right after they are finished?
So now it's a question for you. Would you like, first of all, do you think it would be useful to receive these deliverables? I mean, I believe that yes, but let me know whether you actually want to receive all of them or you think that only certain of them are more relevant for you than others. But in any case, as soon as the deliverables are available, we can actually immediately, and once we have validated them, we can actually share them with you via, of course, via the network. And I think that would probably be the easiest and the most interesting for you. But just wanted to validate it. I see a lot of thumbs up, so I take it for granted that we will go on and share each of the deliverables as soon as they're available.
Okay, any other questions? I don't see any other hands. Okay, we have 2 raised hands. Again, I'm not for some reason able to see. Carla, did you have a question?
Yeah, actually, I put it already in the chat. Thank you for the presentation. I think the study is very relevant for EURAXESS, definitely, and also the different deliverables seem to fit different aspects of our daily work. Well, the question is, maybe we have been already collecting some good practice cases, but also for the future projects, we are still foreseeing some collection of further good practice cases also along those lines you have just introduced. So the question is whether we can somehow reuse those good practice cases you will identify as part of this study, and to include them in our further outputs as part of the project, because I mean it wouldn't make sense to repeat those exercises as part of the upcoming project and to capitalize on already those collected ones you will carry out, and somehow we can also include them in whatever output we'll have, but also bring additional ones. So just to not to duplicate the efforts. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Yes, very relevant point. And indeed, let's reuse all our work and obviously put it together. As we are sharing, of course, we will be very happy to receive your input as well. And I think it will be very useful indeed to include also the findings from the study in the work you are doing, if you find it useful.
Thank you very much.
I see Isser has a raised hand as well. So Isser, please go ahead.
Thank you. Can you hear me?
Faintly, but we can hear you, yes.
Thank you. Okay, first, it's very interesting, and the methodology excellent. Maybe I missed something, but very basic. Is a researcher defined within the scope of this study? Because we are using talents, algorithms. So what is the researcher?
I have an issue hearing you, unfortunately. I do hear that you're speaking, but I can't hear your question very clearly. It's the volume is very low.
I'm sorry.
Did I hear correctly? Did you ask if the researcher is defined in the study?
Again, I'm sorry, because I moved my office to a shelter. It's concrete, so maybe the communication now is very low. And I say slowly, is the researcher defined within the scope of this study? Because we are using more different terms like talents, and so there is a change somewhere. So what is the definition of a researcher?
The definition of the researcher, that I think I understood your question, and tell me if I didn't. The researcher, for the scope of the study, the definition of researcher that has been used is the one of the Council recommendation. So it's the one that has been widely acknowledged among member states. So this was the idea of the Council recommendation, that we will all speak about researchers in the same way. And basically, the Council recommendation defined what a researcher is, and we are using that definition also for the purpose of the study. But also we are including, in order to have the different types of researchers that exist, we are using the R1, R4 definitions also for the types of researchers that are covered by the study.
I understand. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you. Thank you for your question.
Thank you. I see Lil, you have your hand raised still. Did you have a question?
Yes, and it's about the scope of the researchers, because I mean it's a very important study to have this offboarding thematic, and it would be my feeling that this concerns in particular researchers at the level R1 and R2, or that there might be huge differences. So I was wondering how you reflect on this, or do you have a certain scope where, say, we focus on R1 to R2, R3 maybe?
That's actually part of the conclusions, I think, of the deliverable itself. I hope that the contractor will actually tell us that this is actually needed more for R1 to R2, for example, than it is for R4 and R3 and R4. I guess that will be probably what they're going to tell us, but maybe they would be, maybe we will be taken by surprise, and we will find out that actually this is also needed above R2. But this is part of the conclusions that might come up with the deliverable itself. But basically, we didn't ask them to reduce it only to R1 or R2. We said we wanted to have it for all researchers, but we wanted to know how this is being built within the research performing organization, on what type of researchers they are focusing, how they are carrying out the offboarding strategy, whom they are targeting in particular, why they are targeting in particular certain researchers, why they had to come up in the first place with offboarding strategy, what do they want to achieve at the level of their organization, what do they want to achieve for the researcher, etc.
Okay, thank you. And maybe just to follow up, I mean, you certainly are aware there was this very nice exercises, mutual learning exercises on research careers, because they had this very dedicated report, which was on the more on this contractual conditions. So that's I found this report very very helpful. And also to echo what Carla already mentioned, and others probably, is that within the EURAXESS projects over the years, there have been, I think there's a big collection of best practice approaches, maybe not necessarily to this offboarding topic, but this, what goes under the topic of integration, of taking care that there is a social being, that is a human being coming with family, etc. So the whole dual career thematics, etc. But again, I think there is a very interesting link with the career level and where institutions find themselves responsible, or if they at all find themselves being responsible. And the higher the level, the more it goes to those where you have negotiation and you really want to attract the top, but the top is a small share and is probably a different group than the ones which are like the point of departure for this study, to make the whole system more attractive and sustainable and keep research talent in the system. And so thank you for that, and we really look forward for having that, and as soon as possible, as stuff is ready and being involved. So
thank you very much, and we will do so. And indeed, I mean, we have been very clear with the contractor to get in touch with you, because we already have so much available information within the network And of course, we are obviously aware of that because we're working with you. But for them, it might have been not so obvious. So we made it very, very clear that they will have to get in contact.
Thank you. And as I don't see any more raised hands, I think we can conclude here. Tudor, thank you very much for joining and presenting this highly relevant study, and I'm sure we will be hearing a lot more about it in the coming months as well. Thank you also, Elisa, for presenting the latest updates on the project. And for your information, the next monthly BHO meeting will take place on the 21st of May, as the 14th is a public holiday in Belgium. As always, please feel free to contact me with any questions you might have. Again, might be a slight delay in me replying to you, but I will definitely get to it. So wish you all a very good rest of the week and the weekend, and we will see you again in May.
Okay.
Thanks so much.
Thank you very much. Vera, can I ask you to stay a bit,
Thank
just
you.
for a few minutes?